All right, baby. Let's bust some balls and some myths.
Okay, the
And
age
some
gap.
tits.
Welcome
The
to the
age gap. The
relationship.
people want to know. The people want. We're here to give the people what they want.
People want to know the relationship.
We are here on the relationship. The
Quick
people.
recap. We don't know. We don't know.
The good, the bad, and the
We're engaged.
ugly.
We don't know if the relationship works. That's put so dully and boring, but that's that was.
I actually think that's fascinating. We've told people that premise, and they're like, "That's actually brilliant," because so many people feel it and don't say it. But
everybody questions things. Well, not everybody.
and well,
many people do.
Yeah, and we have a significant age gap, and people close to us. I even told this to the guy I'm talking about. I was like, that almost comes secondary, the age gap, because the premise of the show is, yes, we're engaged. We don't know if we're going to make it, but the people are coming in hot in comments, questions, concerns all around. People are fascinated by the age gap. So to us, it may be like, oh, whatever, it's secondary. But the people want to know. There's a Netflix show, which we haven't watched yet, but we will, to comment on it. And so, we're here to do our darn best and give you the real.
I don't even think it is secondary. I think it's primary. I've always thought it was primary. Before we were a couple, I thought, and when we first were a couple, because we've known each other a decade, we've only been a couple for 4 years, so less than half of it. I remember I would often say, I'm worried that, that the age gap thing is going to bother you over time.
You did always say that.
You would dismiss it, but I'd go through the things. It's like the age gap doesn't bother me. The thing that bothered me about the age gap was the fact that I've had like double the life experience. And would I expect you to somehow have that same measure of experience, which you couldn't? Would I hold that against you? Would I hold that against you? Would I expect you to have sort of discovered and done more? And would I also feel like I've been there, said that, whatever the line is, and now I'm like, been there, done that.
Who's been around the block longer, you ask?
And then that you would want to be doing and experiencing and exploring things that I might be like, I don't know if I want to. That was my thing.
Yes, and remember, no, that's true, but life has a funny way. Life has a funny way because it's turned out to be the opposite. We'll talk about this because you push me through my thresholds, my fears into adventure all the time, which we can talk about. But you're right. In the beginning, remember I always used to say this? I'd be like, I would say to my mom all the time, like, I love him and he's my perfect person. I just feel like our timelines are off. Yeah, and that was definitely a thing. And sometimes it still is.
It still is a thing. I mean, you're at a very different level of experience in your life. Well, and even in the present. Let's start with the present. Then
let's start with the present because, you talk about your life experience. I think we should talk about the Heather Locklear thing that we kind of riffed on and we saw yesterday, because that's where it comes into, like, as they say, like, I want someone of my age to have like the symbiotic relationship, which we're so symbiotic, but to have the same pop culture references and be in the same stage of life and da-da-da. But when it comes down to it, like, shared experiences, values, you bitches are talking, you walk in the place.
If anybody watched it, it's Heather Locklear and whoever,
some lady,
going off on how it's weird to have a big age gap, and they said they don't want it.
They wouldn't want it.
But I think that's BS. I'm sorry. I'm not saying
it's total crap.
I'm not saying. Again, they're both closer to my age, so it's like maybe she doesn't want a 90-year-old guy. But I don't know that she maybe wouldn't want a 40-year-old guy. And maybe she does. It just felt bitter to me. It also just felt a little off. It's a little
it's a little narrow-minded, because we always say, I mean, first of all, this is where the age thing does dissipate. And it just, like, evaporates like Houdini, because I always say to you, I never get sick of you, which is such a, because you know me, I'm like 2 hours in and I Irish exit. I'm like, I'm so fucking over this person, this party, this thing. Like, so the fact that I never get sick of you is such a blessing. I can have him around all the time, and we always have not only do we have the best time, but we say this, we make every experience, it could literally be sitting and watching paint dry, so much better and more fulfilling. So that brings me to the thing earlier in the beginning when you were like, oh, well, I want to do this again. You've pushed me to do tree climbing, ice plunge, like how many times?
To do a lot of adventures, but
Tom Sawyer over here on our hand.
But that wasn't really my point about the adventures.
I'm saying it's life experience.
Yes, it was more though about lifestyle, like what you and a lot of your friends, the phase you're at in your lives. Maybe, I've been through a lot of phases.
Friends? For my point. What friends? For my aforementioned.
No, whatever. Anyway, I'm just trying to say, I'm not articulating it very well. But But, you know, there are definitely times I think, you know, I've done a lot of things in my life. I've had whole cycles where I did those things. Some of them are kind of stupid,
Well,
but
you
people
also
go
sometimes
through.
it's like trippy where you're like, wait, like this is weird. Like to think like I dated this girl and now she's my age and her daughter's your age. Like sometimes you'll
Well,
have those
that's a different
weird,
issue. So should
yeah.
we move on? I was talking
No, go
about the
ahead.
experiential one. No, it's just
Go ahead.
it could seem like I'm being like boring at times, but it's like, you know, I've taken up a million hobbies in my life. You know, I've had whole
No,
phases
literally.
where I
Just like
did
flown
blank for X
planes,
number of years. You know, I had the phase where I rode bikes every, you know, and the phase where I did this and the phase where I did that, but
climbed
not all exercise
so
related. I mean, whole phases of my life where,
mentally
yeah,
related.
you know, and so you're discovering new phases. I don't know. Let's move to another thing.
Well,
This,
no,
I
but
think
with
this isn't the point. We have a lot of common
but the
interests.
with we in you
Let's move to
let's
the.
just
We
say
don't. We don't have enough time. We
we
have
make
to.
each other's lives so much better. Even like okay, that's fine. But
Let's
I'm
move
even
on.
saying
We're gonna
like
stay stuck on this one thing, and we've got a whole thing we're gonna cover, and we're gonna bore the heck out
someone's
of people.
grumpy gills
No, I'm
today.
just not. I'm just saying. I'm trying to. We're gonna
No,
honor
I was just
20
gonna.
minutes. We're
Oh,
gonna
we're
honor
gonna honor
20
20
minutes. We're
minutes.
already a
Okay,
third of the
yes,
way
we're
in
gonna. Yeah, okay.
on
We'll
one
stay
thing.
on
So,
track. Oh my
should
gosh,
we start with
ladies,
the myths, or we want to start
step
with
out
the
of line or
DMT?
else.
You take the lead.
All right, how about this? How about this? We're gonna do a little like mythbusters, misconceptions about age gaps. Okay, I feel like this used to be more common earlier on. Now we don't even think about it, but people will see us whether in person, at a party, or online, and think the stereotype like rich, loaded
Right.
guy. Maybe it's crypto, VC, whatever, and just like the hot bimbo, which. Bust the myths. Let me count the way. Where shall we begin? I'm busting this
No,
shit right open.
I think that's a common perception, and I think there's
Could not be further from the truth.
right. The assumption is the woman looks for stability, which there may be some truth in that, and looks for security and more maturity around that. And the guy's looking for a young, hot. It doesn't have to be bimbo. I know a lot of guys who would just take young, hot, and smart. You know, but I get it. The classic thing is
The
bimbo and rich
financial
guy.
security and like the hot
Right,
young girl
right,
fertility, all
right,
that, right?
right.
And it's like when I first met Rob again 10 years ago, okay, he was struggle city, not in a great place. Let's just talk about his car. Let's unpack that,
Yeah,
unlike what he did with his car.
I was in
He
one of
was
their
in a
downturns.
spiral, but I loved your soul so much, and we were best friends.
No, I
We
was
were
in a
best friends. It
downturn.
didn't matter. But like his car, the back of his car, I literally would say to him, "I'm like, are you hiding dead people back there? Okay, that's just the old beat up car. Never mind. Don't. I'll spare you all the details of his apartment." So I think we made that point clear that we have seen each other at truly the
Yes.
worst of our worst, spiral, anxiety,
Yes.
all of it.
However, in fairness to that
monetarily,
myth, we didn't become a couple till I was not in that place. Not that I'm saying that's what affected you, but we didn't. We didn't become a couple. We
okay,
didn't.
I was obsessed with Rob forever.
Okay.
We
Can
would
acknowledge for the
no, we
audience?
were not
We
a
did not
couple.
become a couple. I'm not saying that's what made you. I'm saying I think that was part of it for me. I wasn't willing to do that. I couldn't be living like a 23-year-old when I wasn't 23. When I put things back on track and was making a lot of money and in a more comfortable place, I was more comfortable being in that relationship.
Yeah, and it definitely was different. It was.
I then had the money to do whatever. Once you want to get on a plane and go here, let's go. You want to do this, want to do that.
Once you like had once you had a nice little, you know,
that I'm just saying. I think
income,
so.
It would be like I'll fly you to
that's
Puerto
a
Rico,
semi-myth.
I'll fly
That's
you here.
Semi-myth.
But don't downplay for the people. I was obsessed with you, and we were like Rob always had. This is the twist. We'll explore this at a later point. That I'm oddly like the bigger commitment phobe than Rob, because you would think he's like commitment phobe playboy, but at the time he would be like, "We're not a couple, and I'd be like, "Dude, we cuddle every night. We have dinner together.
We're incapable of staying on track. Hold on.
What do you mean? This is just we're just talking.
No, I know, but I'm saying.
I think somebody's PMSing
No,
today.
no. I'm on a mission that we don't do what we did last time, which
we're
is
just
go on.
Talking.
I know,
okay.
but we kind of agreed we're going to focus on a plan.
I'm just expanding on
I know we're going.
Yes, but that's okay.
But the myth of yes, you were obsessed with me. No, we weren't a couple.
But we were still like we. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on.
So see, this is really a whole nother episode. It's nothing to do with the age gap. It has to do with were we a couple without being a couple. It's a whole nother thing, and I think we're going way off the track of the age thing. That wasn't about age. I say we save that and focus on age. I'm just going to be honest.
We got in a little tip earlier today, and we wanted this episode to be lighter and funnier because it's been really heavy. I'm trying to keep it light, and you're bringing us
Let's keep it light on these fun things that we have here. Okay. Let's try.
But I'm bringing it to the bigger point of Was the age an issue? Yes and no. We always had that connection, contrary to these broads, contrary to whatever. That's all the point I was trying to make.
From day one.
Very, very intimate.
We had a
very
connection
close.
from day one.
We'll leave it at that.
We had a connection from day one. 100%.
The next thing is, you want to talk about sex? They kind of go one in this hand in hand. Sex, or I love Nancy Meyers, and I feel like a trope in her movies. She's just my cinema goddess, but she will often explore the older man with the younger woman, and it's complicated, right? With Alec Baldwin, Meryl Streep, and they're divorced, and she's like, "Really, you're gonna go with the younger girl, and you're gonna be 60 and be a dad, and do the IVF, all that?" So it's a common trope. Go ahead, we're sticking on the sketch.
You want to talk about that one?
By a ruler today, sure. Or there's the sex. I can go on.
They kind of go hand in hand. The sex is a big one. I mean, it's a big one.
Well, here, what's the misconception?
I don't get the thought.
Well, what's the misconception? Okay. It's actually not. You're the one keeping us like a Nazi on the schedule. I would think the misconception is that it's like the older guy, like, laying around, not very active in bed, and the younger wild woman, like, swinging from chandeliers, wanting to always bone. That's what I would think is the assumption.
I mean, I suppose I think that the age thing becomes a real thing with sex, period. I think,
that's what I was gonna say.
I think the older someone gets, doesn't mean people aren't sexual, but I mean, I'm not who I was 30 years ago.
Keeping it up.
I don't even that. You can take dialysis or whatever. You can keep the erection. It's way more than that. It's mental too. I think I don't know how to put it. Like, I mean, a part of it, this sounds horrible. Like, a part of it is just like, I don't think this is really about the misconception. No, there's a part of it that's just like,
I'm learning with you all because I don't know.
I mean, there's someone maybe gets married young to one person. It's their first partner, and then they grow and evolve, and maybe the sex changes over time. Maybe they both get old, whatever. I mean, we both know this. You love to make fun of it. I've slept with so many people in my life and had sex so many times in so many different ways, in so many crazy places, that for me at a certain point, it's like sex isn't the same kooky adventure. And even in the beginning with you and I, it was.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
We were a little kinky in where and how and when.
You're down. Okay, so here's actually a myth buster I have. I remember in the beginning of our relationship, I would tell, because the misconception is like, oh, the old guy like laying around and the young woman always wanted to get it on. I remember saying to my mom, I was like, I can't keep up with this guy. I was like, I'm tired. Like, he's here, he's there, the closet, the ceiling, this. Like, I'm tired. I want a break. Now it's a little different. The sex has been a lot. We haven't actually really been having sex. Actually, to the IVF thing, when she was like, we were at our appointment, which we told you about last week, she was like, so what are you using for contraception or for birth control? I was like, not having sex. Basically, like, where's the lie? So again, the good with the bad, it ebbs and flows. And, I think that we're going to embark on a new.
Yeah, but I think
you have to reinvent the wheel. I feel like that's kind of tropey, but like, I do want to get back to that place.
But I think, in fairness, one of the age things that is maybe a myth, but not completely is, and is the older someone gets, the less they may. Even their testosterone drops. They have those stupid ads all the time for Nugenics or whatever it is. Where they have the older athlete who's like, try this. It'll give you back it's a testosterone booster, supplement. It'll give you back the energy. They never use the word sex, but it's all implied. You'll feel the energy you didn't have. And then they're always like, and your lady will thank you for it too, right? There's this implication that with time, men lose, well, they do, some of their sexual drive or energy or capacity. Drugs can compensate for that. I think there's a mental piece, though, that goes both ways. I think for you understandably, and I think you fight it a little, but you haven't always, and I shouldn't put words in your mouth, you find something appealing about the guy your age who's just like young, fit.
That happens.
Ready to rock and roll 24/7. I was that guy. I'm still fit, the mental gymnastics, but I get older, also, and I think you have a block that comes up with that you're kind of like worried. You're worried. Yeah, well, but you worry, you worried in 10 years, is this really going to be a problem? Like, that's a real thing. That's not a myth.
That's where the age stuff does come into play. Also, I just need to go back a second because your little pill explanation, like, the science guy walks so Rob Nelson can run. But anyways, yes, that is where people will say, whether it's family, people in the comments, whatever, like, do you want to be taking care of him in however many years? Sometimes, like, I will see like a young hot guy my age with like ripped and a nice bubble butt, and I'm like at the gym or whatever. I definitely think about that, and this is where I
you
want
did
to
more
gain.
than think about it at times.
Yes, but that's for another episode. We're going to talk about that. But that is
Just
where
saying.
it definitely gets real. And sometimes, like, where I'll see you and I can like see your abs, I'm like, oh my god, yes, it's there again. Or where you're really tan, or your arms or your muscles, I get super stoked. But yes, we TBD putting a pin in that remains, because we have to finish this up.
We have to get to the monogamy issue in another episode.
That's a whole
but I want to say
this,
and this is why I think it's a good example.
Something else, by the way, I
am super fit. You can't start halfway into it. You said we want to wait. You want to talk about it now?
No, we only have 5 minutes. Come on, 4 minutes.
Then don't keep bringing up pieces, because I just said we'll talk about it. I want to have all the conversations. I want to stick to this for a minute. I'm in great shape. I'm in better shape than a lot of people half my age. Not mostly the people you find attractive. You're attracted to people in great shape. But I'm in as good a shape as they are, and I can keep up. Cardio shape, muscle shape, leanness, muscle mass, heart, everything. I don't think it's just a physiological thing. No, I just want to be clear.
Too. Yes,
I get it. I get the guy who's older. I get the guy who's older and out of shape. I think it's still an issue for a guy who's younger. I mean, older and in shape. I still think you see age and you worry about eventually this person won't be able to do
Sometimes
enough.
It's not at the forefront of my mind. Truthfully, what is the here and now, and I want to talk to you about this offline, but I'm telling everybody here, is what I worry is that because we haven't been having sex, is like, I don't want to just be like buddy, like roommates. We're very intimate, obviously, and very affectionate, but that's something we need to get back to. I'm going to make a rule, by the way, where it's we don't start it up sexually when you're just like laying in that position, the one in bed where you're just laying there. That's going to be like a Taylor, like it is in the book of like in concrete. So, okay, we have 3 minutes.
So I really want to finish pause on this. So we'll do this. We're going to talk about the whole thing around that, because again, we're not going to get into it now.
Liberated me sexually in
but
huge
there
ways.
were also things that happened. It's not as simple as just we got bored with it. It's a complicated thing.
There was a lot.
It's a complicated thing why our sex got knocked off.
Thing of like, oh, 7-year it. Yeah.
So let's hold that for another conversation.
Reinvent, make it spicy. Agreed. Okay, teamwork. Okay, so I wanted to end this. We didn't get to this last time, and yes, we have been asked to comment on the Netflix show. We will get around to it. We're busy doing all this.
Yes.
But
are we going to take a couple? We said we'd take a couple of people's questions. Well, we only have 2 minutes.
Well, no, we've been addressing some of them. We're going to get to them as we get. These were some of them.
One is the Netflix show.
The rich guy, hot girl thing. Yeah, the Netflix show. We're going to get to all this stuff. But no, I wanted to talk about famous couples. And I thought this was a really interesting way to end it, right? You have like Calista Flockhart and Harrison Ford. They have, again, 25-ish year age gap, been together almost 30 years. Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Douglas, same kind of thing. And I thought that this was interesting whenever they were asked about it. And I do feel like this pertains to us, that they were like, it's not really a big thing. Like we have the same values. We absolutely share the same values. Respect, love, adore each other, enjoy each other's company. Like it's second. We don't really even think about it anymore. And we don't really make it a thing. And yes, there are the logistics. There's the health, there's time, all that, but I do feel like at the end of the day, it's why we make each other's lives so much better and more enriched every little experience. Like we love experiencing with each other.
One of the things that we have a limited amount of time, so I'd love you to share something that you've heard from people that comes up, a question they ask you, friends, whoever, people you don't know, people who've watched this, whoever. Hold on, what question? You have one, and then I have one that
I'll say quickly is, do you guys get a lot of judgment is a question I get. Like, how do you handle that? That's a lot. I don't know if I can take that judgment. Not a question
that they ask you that's directly like about, that is it. About the experience. Like, do you like this, or does it just scare you, or does this bother you? You don't get asked that? You don't get asked, are you worried he's going to get old and you want?
If anything, it'll be like, if you'll have to like take care of him, do you think about that? But no, again,
that's a big one though.
Yes, but that's more from like family and concern. Otherwise, it's like, do
friends
people
never
judge
say
you?
That? They never suggest you don't.
They see us and they're just like Taylor and Rob. We have 25 seconds. How about you? I didn't answer the question, by the way, which we do and don't get judged. I don't know.
Mine is people asking, about parenthood and all that, and an awareness that an older parent, man or woman, especially a man, is not going to be the same as a younger male parent. And does Taylor really understand that?
It's going to be a different.
It gets brought up. No, it gets brought up a lot by people. In general, the woman is.
No, you brought it up on the show before.
Well, okay, so that was one that people bring up a lot to me.
Okay, I think we've all established yes.
Nobody brings up like, is she like? Are you worried about the sex thing? No, they're like, you just figure that out. You got a hot young, like, go for it. Like, you sort it out. That's not what I get. I get the other thing.
I just want to be on the record. Who's 17 seconds over? Mr. Time Nazi over here. So with that said, you know what, guys, this is a relationship. It's taking the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it.
And our next one might be about sex.
Oh,
maybe
let's
not.
talk about
we'll
sex,
see what
but actually
want.
not. Oh my God.
We'll see what people want.
See what the people want. Thanks, guys.